I did not move when she spoke into the intercom. I could not even breathe properly as the voice whispered back, "Help me!" And for a moment, I felt something inside my chest break. Not fear, not shock, something worse. Something like recognition, because I had heard that exact tone before. Weak, desperate, almost human. And I knew exactly what would happen next. I tried to warn her, but my voice would not come out. My throat felt tight, like something was holding it shut. She turned toward me, confused by my silence, and asked if everything was all right. But before I could respond, the red light on the panel flickered violently, and then steadied, glowing brighter than before, casting a deep crimson reflection across her face. I shook my head slowly, trying to tell her without words, not to go, but curiosity is a dangerous thing. And I saw it in her eyes, the same mistake I had made. She stepped away from the desk and started walking toward the hallway, her footsteps echoing softly in the silence, and something inside me screamed to stop her. But my body refused to follow, as if I was no longer in control, as if I was only meant to watch. She reached the corner and disappeared from view, and the moment she was gone, the entire hospital fell into that unnatural silence again, the kind that feels alive, like it is listening, waiting. I forced myself to stand, my legs trembling beneath me, and walked toward the hallway, each step heavier than the last. And when I turned the corner, I saw her standing in front of room 306, the door slightly open just like before, the red light above it glowing steadily. She hesitated for a second, and I almost believed she might turn back. But then she reached for the handle and pushed the door open. The darkness inside swallowed the light instantly, and she stepped in without looking back. The door slammed shut behind her, and the lights in the hallway flickered violently, plunging everything into darkness for a split second. And when they came back, the door was gone. Not closed, not broken, gone, as if it had never existed. I stood there, frozen, my heart pounding against my chest as the whispers returned louder than ever, filling the air around me, overlapping voices speaking all at once. "You brought another. You opened it again. You are learning." I covered my ears, but it did nothing. The voices were inside my head, pressing deeper with every second, and then suddenly everything stopped. Complete silence. No whispers. No movement. Nothing. Just stillness. I slowly lowered my hands and turned back toward the nurse station, and that was when I saw it. The panel had changed. The numbers were no longer normal. Every room now read 306, repeating endlessly. And beneath them more names had appeared, carved deep into the surface, overlapping each other. Dozens, maybe hundreds of them. And among them, I saw mine. And below it, a new name. Hers, the nurse who had just walked into that room. I stumbled backward, unable to process what I was seeing, when the intercom suddenly crackled to life on its own, and a voice spoke. Not hers, not mine. Something else. Something deeper and older, saying, "You understand now." And in that moment, everything became clear. This was never about a room. This was never about the hospital. It was a system, something that fed on curiosity, on fear, on the moment someone chooses to look when they are told not to. Every person who answered, every person who opened the door, became part of it. Their voices, their faces, their presence absorbed into whatever existed beyond that darkness, and then used to call the next person to bring them closer, to repeat the cycle again and again. I felt my chest tighten as the realization settled in. There was never an escape. There was never a way out, because the moment I answered that call, I had already become part of it. And now, I was no longer just a victim. I was part of the process, the one who stayed behind, the one who watched, the one who waited for the next person to take the shift. I tried to run. I turned toward the exit and forced my legs to move, but the hallway stretched endlessly, the doors repeating the numbers blurring together. And no matter how far I went, I always ended up back at the nurse station, standing in front of that panel, breathing heavily as the red light blinked again. Slow, deliberate, patient. And then I heard it. Footsteps behind me. I turned slowly and saw a man standing there, confused, looking around like he did not understand where he was. His clothes were unfamiliar, his face pale, his eyes wide with uncertainty. He looked at me and asked if this was Rafay Memorial Hospital. I stared at him, unable to speak, as he stepped closer and said he was here for his first night shift. I felt something inside me sink deeper than before, because I already knew what would happen next. I tried to warn him. I tried to say the words, "Do not check. Room 306, but my voice would not obey. Instead, my hand lifted on its own, moving toward the intercom as if guided by something else, something that had been waiting for this moment. The man watched me confused as I pressed the button and spoke in a calm, steady voice that did not feel like mine. "Room 306, do you need assistance?" There was a brief silence, and then from the speaker, a voice whispered, "Help me." The man's expression changed instantly, curiosity replacing confusion. And I saw it happen again, the same exact moment, the same exact mistake. He took a step toward the hallway, and I knew it was already too late, because the system had already chosen him, just like it had chosen me, just like it had chosen all the others. And as he disappeared around the corner, the red light on the panel pulsed once more, stronger than before, and beneath the carved names, a new space began to form, empty, waiting, ready to be filled. And in that moment, I understood the final truth. There was no first victim. There was no last victim. There was only the cycle, endless, repeating, feeding, growing, and I was no longer trying to escape it. I was part of it. And somewhere deep within the building, beyond the walls, beyond the rooms, beyond the darkness, something was listening, something was watching, and something was waiting for the next voice to answer the call at exactly 3:17 a.m.